I'm going to get started right away. And those who join on the phone can identify yourself after, and I'll see on the computer as person join. My name is Bart Campbell. I want to make this a very interactive session. This is our last webinar for 2016, put on by the MDAO, and this one is entitled Peer Support. So far our theme for the year has been collaboration, and this year we presented 4 different webinars. The first one was on grant writing to help those folks who are excited about running different projects and want to find some funding to be able to do that. The second one was on marketing and outreach using social media. So Facebook, Twitter, as a tool to connect with persons, and especially in some of the smaller communities where there's still some stigma attached and people don't necessarily want to walk into a support group. As well as we also trying to connect with some of the younger folks that are struggling with some mental health issues and feel like they have no place to go. Recently I've been told that there's things going on like trolling, which is a new term for me that I learned when I did the mental health first aid. So social media is a great tool for outreach and marketing, and we've done that. The last one we did was supporting family members with mental health challenges. So according to the CAMH website I checked recently, they say 1 in 5 Canadian struggles with mental health or is affected by mental health issues. So almost a good chunk of us, if we're ourselves not struggling with mental health challenges, our family members or friends are struggling with it. And so we want to top it off and recap now with virtual peer support at the MDAO. Being an organization in Toronto and having more than 36 affiliate sites across Ontario, sometimes it gets challenging to get to everyone and see everyone and be with everyone, and it gets expensive at times as well. Hey, welcome, Paul. I had to give you a shout out there because I see you just joined us on the computer. So those were the webinars that we've ran already, and so we want to add this peer support one to it to stay connected with people across Ontario and, if possible, even across Canada. So I think it's appropriate to do some thank yous. So I really want to thank my team here at the MDAO. Some of you are seeing me for the first time. You may have seen my name. You may have participated at a conference and saw me in action trying to do my thing in terms of peer support and facilitating groups and so forth and so on. So I want to thank my team here at the MDAO. I also want to thank Paul and Ross. These two gentlemen are giants. They really are out in the community, stretching far and wide outside of even their areas of a responsibility to make sure that everyone's connected and every group gets a touch. So I want to say special thanks to Ross and Paul. I think Paul's even published a few articles now in his local paper. So, you know, Paul, you're getting famous there, my friend. And Ross, thank you so much for bringing me out a few times to do Laughing Like Crazy with your group out in Guelph, and also doing some training in Hamilton. Susan, thank you very much for arranging that. So things have been happening across Ontario in terms of peer support for groups. So I also want to thank the facilitators. We may not speak to you all the time, connect with you all the time, but we're in partnership with the regional leaders, and we're making sure that we create an environment where you too feel supported. So moving right along. Someone, I think your cat has joined as well. So if you want to mute, and so because I don't speak cat, so I probably wouldn't understand what he or she's trying to say. So again, to the presentation in front of you. So if you're on the phone, you would have received a PDF copy of the presentation that you can print and follow me along. And if you're on the computer, you can see the page that I'm on. So again, I gave you the informal introduction. My name is Bart Campbell. I'm a facilitator for RAP, Laughing Like Crazy, and I do peer support training level 1 and 2 with the Mood Disorder Association of Ontario. I also do some work on the team that provides one-on-one peer support and provide that support across our affiliates as well. So I'm like the guy that everyone from across Ontario calls into the MDAO to get peer support. But that's expanding now. After this presentation, you'll have about 4 or 5 other people that will be supporting you. I want to say special thanks to Danielle. He's now the mental health counsel, and he was the former peer support supervisor with the MDAO. So when I just started out doing peer support, Daniel was my boss. So he kept us in line, kept us in check, and make sure we were doing the right thing. So thanks to Danielle for making a major contribution to this presentation. So what will you take away from this presentation today? You will take away concrete ideas on how to benefit from virtual peer support individually, in your communities, and organization. You will learn for yourself how to use virtual peer support tools for support as a facilitator, members of any group, a family member, or a supporter of persons who have mental health challenges. The goal at the MDAO, if you've been around for a while, as long as I know, I think Paul's probably the most senior person, not in age, but in terms of the experience, because I remember recently he got a volunteer award from Karen Lieberman, Walking in the Rain. And at that time, I think he had 20 plus years of service. So if you've been around for a while, you know that the MDAO goal is to help individuals heal and recover. And what is recovery? Recovery is at an individual level. So it's self-defined and it's driven by the individual. Some of the key principles that we promote in terms of recovery is hope, self-determination, autonomy, personal responsibility, self-advocacy, and empowerment, support, learning, growth, and self-definition. We foster resilience. So living the life you want to live, even though you may experience mental health issues. Our motto is summed up into this term: talk to someone who's been there. Our values, of course, is that we believe recovery and self-discovery are possible. Building hope is a key part of your recovery. Peer support based on lived experience can contribute to recovery. We support a comprehensive approach to recovery that meets the unique needs of each individual. Supporting families can help them play a positive role in recovery and contributing to the well-being of the family. So we even run RAP for Family and other things that help family members themselves deal with some of the challenges that they're experiencing working with persons who are struggling with a mental health issue. We believe it's possible to reduce both stigma in society and within self. We've done a lot of work recently with the high schools across Ontario through Headstrong, which is a mental health commission initiative to ensure that we start a conversation, and by starting the conversation, it helps to reduce some of the stigma from a society perspective. And we've seen a lot of popular TV personalities promoting mental health and wellness, which is reducing the stigma. Canada is doing an awesome job trying to make sure that they expose some of the things that are going on and help in terms of funding to help reduce some of the stigma as well. So we believe in these values and we continue to promote them. And especially now that we're approaching the virtual peer support piece, we want you to understand how those values are the foundation that we build on. How do we do it? Well, we do a lot of it through services, and our services include drop-in peer groups, structured recovery program, like Laughing Like Crazy RAP, one-on-one peer support, which we've been doing for a while, individual counseling, so we have a counseling team, early intervention for mood disorders and psychosis, especially with our young people. So we have a lot of focus on youth, especially in the psychosis area. We do peer support training. So the MDAO now has an accredited peer support program to teach people how to do peer support on a professionalized level, and we're directly linked to PSAC and to the Mental Health Commission in Canada. And of course, now we're introducing, packaging it all together, virtual peer support. Of course, in order to provide peer support, we need to be able to define it. So what is peer support? It's a supportive relationship between people who have common lived experience in the context of mental health challenge or illness. This common experience may be related to their own mental health or to that of a loved one. Who is a peer supporter? A peer supporter provides emotional and social support to others who share a common experience. The commonality may not be in relation to a specific challenge or illness, but rather to the struggle and emotional pain that can accompany the feeling of loss and or hopelessness due to mental illness. Each person is unique in their experience and also unique on their path to recovery. You can check out that definition at the Mental Health Commission of Canada, making a case for peer support. Of course, peer support has taken on different face over the years, and the Mental Health Commission of Canada, again, has done a really awesome job in terms of helping us understand where peer support is coming from historically and where it's going. So before it was someone's cat, now someone's dog has joined the call as well. I also don't speak dog. So please mute if you can. So it's gone from just an informal friendship, people meeting and just naturally sharing, all the way down to a more clinical environment. Most of us, we stop at around the self-help, mutual peer support piece and offer peer support in a consumer-run group kind of environment. But as we move into more accreditation and stuff, it's going to take on more a formalized approach. So this gray box at the bottom is pretty much what represents what professionalized peer support will probably look like in the future. It won't lose the essence of what peer support is, but we will want to make sure that everyone that decides to do peer support has the right training and the right support to do that. So, how do we define then virtual peer support on its own? What is virtual peer support? Well, it's any form of peer support that does not happen in person, i.e. face-to-face. So the modes of virtual peer support may include video conferencing, as we're experiencing today, talking to persons on the video. Telephone, as we're also experiencing today. Email, a lot of folks have sent me emails with situations they're dealing with, and we communicate back and forth. Online forums, online services, i.e. MDAO, and I'll talk a little bit about MDAO later on because that's one of the most secure tools to provide online services, and we want to make sure that we utilize that. The Mental Health Commission of Canada totally support this whole virtual peer support context, and so the comment from them says, mental health and peer support, it should be noted that the role of peer support is as valuable in transforming the mental health system through the use of technology. So Mental Health Commission of Canada is also embracing the whole idea of doing peer support virtually using technology when you always can't be face-to-face with the individual. There's lots of benefits of virtual peer support. So we'll start with the accessibility piece benefit. So it increases accessibility and reduces barrier to give service for those living in geographically remote locations or who are otherwise isolated. Easier access to service for physically disabled individuals or people unable to leave their home. Virtual peer support may be effective in encouraging the emerging adult transitional age youth population to receive support. For individuals suffering from social phobias, etc., etc., etc. Virtual peer support may be a welcome alternative for persons in these situations. First, there's also benefits of convenience. So both the peer and the peer supporter has the convenience of corresponding with each other with a range of optional times. So this takes away the difficulty of scheduling appointments in the customary setting of a 9 to 5. So with the peer supporters that I told you about, we'll talk about the process after, but we've already extended our hours here at the MDAO. So we used to be open 9 to 5. Now we're open 9 to 9 from Monday to Thursday and still 9 to 5 on Friday. It creates an opportunity for peer worker to extend their services to more peers, as appointments can be potentially scheduled for longer than an hour and reach a larger geographical region. And that point, I'd also like to plug that we can, some of the benefits are probably even running rap groups via technology, virtually. So I could be leading with a co-facilitator, a rap group using this modem going forward, like conferences, instead of coming out or instead of people having to come in one area and drive the distance. So the convenience continue. For individuals who are undecided about face-to-face peer support, they may find virtual peer support more suitable. Benefits continue. So particular mental health challenges and or special needs. Some peers may be uncomfortable with particular modes of peer support due to some aspect associated with their mental health challenges. We understand that there are some challenges. Particular disabilities or special needs may not be accommodated for depending on the type of service being offered. So from a confidentiality and security perspective, as a peer support worker for MDO, we take steps to maintain privacy and confidentiality and prevent security breaches. I hear a question. Okay, so the first one that we'd like to talk about is phone-based peer support. So the benefits, other benefits include paraverbal communication, so vocal, tone, pitch, etc. Level of distress or empathy can be communicated in voice. A degree of anatomy, which can be comforting. Peers can receive service from the comfort of their own home. Of course, there's some downsides as well. You know, may speak different peers at different times, so you may not get to talk to the same person over and over again. Calls may have limits on time and frequency, so although it may extend more than the 45 minutes or an hour now, there's still a limitation. You're not able to talk for the whole day, as some folks calling into the MDA sometimes would like to do. And we're not available all the time. So between the 9 to 9 hours is what we're focusing on right now. We don't always do weekends or later nights after 9 o'clock. Sometimes when we are participating in a phone-based peer support, depending on what the peer is going through and what's going on, sometimes the language can become very hostile and sometimes seeming appropriate. And that's why from a peer support perspective, the peer supporters that will be answering the phone or arranging these virtual peer support, they'll be fully trained in understanding that when persons are stressed and on a phone, they'll probably say things that they would not normally say face to face. And so we have to know not to take that personal. We always need to have clear guidelines surrounding crisis. So at the MDO, we don't deal with crisis, but we have places that we can refer persons to experience help if they're going through crisis. So there are two types of phone-based service that we provide here at the MDO, the warm line and the teleconferencing. So the folks that are on the phone right now, again, are experiencing the teleconferencing option. So how do they work? How do you use the phone-based service? Well, for the warm line, you simply just dial that number, 1-866-363-6663. And you can do that anytime between 9 to 5 p.m. Monday to Friday. Outside of the 5 p.m. Bracket, you have to pre-schedule something. You can arrange for a phone call outside of that time, just a regular phone call. You can also participate in the teleconferencing option. So you call the same number during regular business hours, and the person that answers the phone will arrange for a peer support worker to call you within 5 days to book an appointment. Now, what will happen is when you call, the person who answers the phone can provide on-the-spot peer support for a short amount of time there and then. So if you really need to talk to somebody right away, they'll spend a little bit of time with you. But if you want some ongoing support, then they'll take your information and arrange for somebody to call you within 5 days and set up some peer support sessions with you. Of course, there's also the video conferencing, which we're experiencing also today. So other benefits, the peer does not need to travel to attend a face-to-face peer support session, especially if they're in a geographical area or they have certain phobias and they can't leave their house. If they're closed in person, they can also benefit from that. And there are some downsides as well to video conferencing. So, you might experience technical problems. So this is my first live webinar. I've supported lots of them. And so even getting ready to deliver this, I had a little bit of technical anxieties. I've been trying to sort out some of the technical details all morning. And so far, so good. And so we want to keep it that way. But we understand that there are times when there's technical challenges as well. And some people can't afford computers and stuff. So, from a cost perspective, there's some limitation there as well. So how does that work? How does the video conferencing work? Well, very similar to the teleconferencing, it's a pre-scheduled situation. So you'd call, again, the MDO during regular business hours. The difference between the teleconference and the video conference is that for the teleconference, you provide an email address. And you'll also tell us, your preferred date and time. So when the peer supporter gets the information, they'll try to accommodate the date and time that you're looking for, and within 5 business days, contact you. And what will happen is they'll send you an invitation via the email. So you'll get an appointment request that comes through. Of course, you need a computer with a webcam if you want the video component to enjoy that benefits of seeing the person who you're working with. Now, although virtual peer support is in this context is new, because we've had phone service for a long time. People have talked on the phone for a long time, utilizing technology for a long time, but we haven't packaged it the way we've packaged it now and calling it virtual peer support. But since we've been doing that, we've gotten some folks saying, hey, this is really good, this feels good. And so this particular individual says, I'm so inspired by the conversation, talking with people from all over the country with the same issues as me. I felt like I was stuck and stupid for 50 years. I got my diagnosis so late in life. After this call, I did not feel so alone. The other person says, I'm so grateful to this forum, since it has saved my life a number of occasions. So it gives you some privacy. You don't have to get out of your house. You can call and enjoy the benefits that virtual peer support offers. That wraps up the presentation, and I am open now to take questions. So you can type a question or you can ask me a question via the phone.
I have a question.
All right, and who's asking the question?
Sandra Miller from Mood Menders in Hamilton.
Hello. All right, question from Sandra, Mood Menders in Hamilton.
The webcast, is it a camera? It's not by Skype, is it?
No, so the MDAO it's a similar kind of technology and setup like Skype. However, it's secured and protected. It's used by a lot of the medical facilities and hospitals sometimes to communicate. So it's a secure site. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Fantastic.
And Bart, if I can just say something like that
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right.
Fantastic.
We have the same capabilities that happen.
Okay, so I have another question here online. Can I get a copy of the PowerPoint presentation today? Jay, that should have already been in your email, but if it's not in your email, as soon as I'm finished, I'll send you a copy. Now, it came in PDF. Are you specifically requesting it in PowerPoint? Okay, cool. Well, hey, Ross has volunteered to send it off to you, Jay, so it's coming to you. And Ross, you wanted me to say 9:30 a.m. For calling into the MDO. Well, if you call, someone's in the office by 9 o'clock. The desk opens at 9:30. But if you call at 9 o'clock, somebody will answer the phone. Question from Wendy online. Will the peer support training cost anything? At this particular point, as an affiliate of the MDAO, there are no cost to the training that we provide you as an affiliate. If you're not affiliated with the MDAO, there might be a cost. Does that answer your question, Wendy? How can you get peer support training? Fantastic question. Send me an email after this presentation, and we'll try to see what we can do. I think it depends on where you're located and how many people, but I've done training in Hamilton a couple times and different places. So it's a matter of just sending me an email and we'll follow up with you. Does that answer your question, Jay? Okay. So Jay, you have a diploma. What is CSW? While you're getting ready to tell me what is CSW, Jay, my email address is bartc@mooddisorders.ca. Did I miss anyone's question? Okay,
So
Susan.
just going to say, in case you keep a track of numbers, some will get more than one person on the computer watching.
Right. I see that. So far, I'm up to 25 people. So, counting. Yes?
It's Jackman. I was just wondering, when did the virtual peer training start? Like, when was it offered?
When does the peer support training start?
No, not peer support training, but the availability of virtual peer support.
It starts tomorrow. So we've already been doing bits and pieces. So if you did make a phone call, we would accommodate. If you did call and say you want to talk to somebody but you can't travel, we would offer MDAO. We've never really offered the teleconferencing option, but we consider that there are people that probably lives in locations that don't want to incur long distance charges. And since we have a bridge already, we said, okay, let's include that in there as well, because we only use that bridge maybe once or twice a month for big conference call. But if a person wants to even borrow somebody's phone so they don't incur charges or so, they can use the teleconference now. If they have a computer, they can use MDAO and do it via email. They can call us and we can do the good old telephone call as well. So 4 options that you have now from a virtual perspective, and not ruling out email as well.
For the telephone, what would be the turnaround time for when a person calls in?
So for the telephone, when you call in, you mean the teleconferencing? It's within 5 days you'll get a call. You're going to get it on the spot. So the person that you call will talk to you right there and then for up to 45 minutes.
Cool. That's great.
Yep. However, if you need ongoing and you'd like to talk about the same situation over a period of time, that's when you'd actually book an appointment now with the peer support worker, because that person on the phone moves on to the next call and the next call and the next call, and sometimes you don't get things resolved. Does that answer your question?
Well, one sort of thing, once you, like, once the person sort of connects with one of the support people, can he keep on having that person, like, work with that person per se?
Yes, so when we just started out a little bit over a year ago, we were saying maximum 3 sessions, and the peer support worker would identify if there's things that the person needs to work with on an ongoing basis and transfers that person over to counseling. But since then, we've learned that sometimes there's things that takes a while to get it all out and to, you know, talk about it. So instead of putting a limit on, say, 3, let's transfer you, we're kind of saying, okay, we'll start out saying it's about 4, and we can go as much as 6 if necessary. By that time, again, based on my experience, you'd have gotten it all out. You've gotten some resources they can use. You feel supported, so you're out being independent after about 4 to 6 sessions.
Cool. Thanks.
You're welcome. After about 4 to 6 sessions.
Cool. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Part of I can just say this is still peer support, it's not
Counseling.
psychiatrist.
No, not counseling. and as a matter of fact, we have some. The very first one involves us going through a confidentiality consent form and explaining what is peer support, why we take notes, and so forth and so on. And then we also describe the difference between counseling and peer support. And as we're in the process of supporting you, if things comes up that is more deeper relating to counseling, we would now at that point identify that that may be something that you want to get some counseling for, and we'll fill out a form and have them go through the intake, but we don't attempt to ever do any kind of counseling.
Having said that, it's been a very valuable service because with my peers, I thought to knock my stuff out.
Cool.
Got a lot of information on where was it get proper.
And we're trying to build up some list of resources and places around the province as well. I have a comprehensive list for Toronto, different services that people can enjoy. But connecting with Paul and Ross over the last few months, I've learned a lot about what's going on around Ontario, and looking to be able to establish some more community services local that folks can benefit from. Because sometimes from a peer support perspective, it's just a matter of guiding and helping, directing persons how to use the services and take advantage of the resources. So I see a couple questions online. So I see Robert asking, when using MDAO, does the client use just the standard browser or do they need a program? It's a web-based program. So basically, you're doing it through a website. So no, I don't think you need any. You just need standard. You just need email access. Other question online, where does it start? Oh, I answered that one already. So you can start calling tomorrow. Can I email you about the grant info? Yes. Oh, by the way, I should mention at the top, I told you all the webinars that we ran for 2016. Within the next couple weeks, all of these presentations will be published on our website. So you can go and play it over again. You can use it in your group. If you're having a group meeting and you want to do an activity to kind of learn something. So if you want to learn about grant writing, how to go about it, we'll be publishing it. If you want to learn how to use social media, we'll be publishing it. If you want to know how to support families with mental health, that's already published on our website already. And if you want to continue to utilize the benefits of virtual peer support, this presentation will also be posted. You're welcome, Robert. Ross, can MDAO work with a smartphone? That's a very good question. I do not know. So I'll put that on the parking lot, Ross, and see if that's possible. I think once you have a web connection, though, if you can log on to the website And if you have the right virus software and security features on your phone, it should be able to work. But let me investigate that and get back to you on that. Another question online from Lisa Johnston or Lisa J. Is it similar to sicknotweak.com where participants are anonymous? I am curious what steps are made when people are in crisis. Very good question. I'm not familiar with sicknotweak.com, Lisa. No, it's not anonymous, but it's private. It's the two individuals that are engaged in the conversation, the peer and the peer support worker, exchanging information via a protected service. So it's not anonymous. As well as I would think that a person can create an email address and create a name and use that email address and name to remain anonymous if they wish to do it that way. So we're not going to check ID to know who is using the service. The benefits of the service is what's important. So if you know persons who would want to use the service but remain anonymous, they can take steps to do it anonymously. Does that answer your question, Lisa? Okay, Susan, do you see my question, Bart? Okay, let me go look for Susan's question. Where is Susan's question? Okay, thank you, Wendy. Okay, you can email me. We'll support. Okay, I think I answered that already. Susan, should we keep records when we do peer support? This way on phone or computer? This is a very good question, Susan. This is not a clinical approach. This peer support is not a clinical approach. So you're not building files for people and keeping record of what people tell you and what they're going through. We take notes, but the notes is just a guide. So when the person comes again, they don't have to repeat their story over and over again. And we give that person the option of getting copies of those notes, and we upload those notes in one of our EMHware tool, and we shred the hard copy after the fact. And I think after a number of months, we shred everything that's on file. So we don't necessarily keep a record of peer support sessions. We make notes and use them as guide. Does that answer your question, Susan? Awesome. Good job, Susan. Keep doing your virtual peer support with some of the members of your group. And again, a lot of us are doing that already. So just keep doing it. I think I rushed over it, but I want to come back to say that from a facilitator perspective, a lot of times, especially out in the province, you have facilitators for years providing support, but they themselves have nowhere to go get support, and sometimes just their regional leaders alone, they don't want to burden down with their concerns. You can now take advantage of virtual peer support so you can enjoy the benefits of some support for yourself as well. Okay, so is this webinar about us getting peer support at the MDAO? Yes, and no, and no. So yes, if any facilitator, any group member, any family member wants virtual support because they're in a situation where they need peer support, they can call the MDAO. However, in the groups around the province, you already have support that you're getting as well. So it's only if you want support above and beyond what you're getting in your group, or if you just want some privacy, then you can call the MDAO, Susan, but it's not to replace what's going on in the groups around the province. Okay, so I see another question here. How is virtual peer support different from phone support? That's from Jackman. It's not different. It's one of the types of virtual peer support. So you have phone, whether that's me just picking up the phone and calling somebody, or a teleconference, because I can't afford long distance calls and I don't have phone for myself, so I'm borrowing a service and I'm booking some time to have somebody talk to me via the bridge. Or I'm using the computer and I'm using it via email and I'm getting support via a web process. So phone is one of the process of virtual peer support, Jackman.
Bart, calling you, I just make a small comment. I found in various video conferences I take part in, it's a little bit easier to read your first direction. Sometimes everybody gets it's easier to keep your person empathetic with you
Mm-hmm.
in a video than it is by phone.
Right. As you can see, I'm quite animated. Sometimes I look at myself and I feel embarrassed just looking at myself. No, I know I just caught myself as you were talking. I looked up at myself. I forgot I was on video actually. And so I looked up and saw myself in the left hand corner and how bright my teeth are and big my nose is and felt very conscious at that particular point. But I think I do exude a very a warm persona. I tell people that I'm a teddy bear. So you're right, Paul. You do give off good body language sometimes, and people are able to see that you're warm and friendly versus being on the phone. All right. Did I miss any other questions? Okay, Jay, how do you get trained as a peer support person? Sorry, not clear. Okay, good question. So send me an email. We have a peer support program that we run through the MDAO. It's an accreditation program. It's for 4 days, and it's linked to PSAC. It's a process, but after you complete level 1, you're able to start providing peer support. That's for you, Jay. Ross, my question re-webinar using smartphones. I think I responded, Ross, but let me give it again. If your smartphone has the security features that are necessary and the software that supports the internet service, you should be able to use your smartphone. I can use my smartphone, but I had to download some programs to be able to do that. Let me scroll through, see if I miss any other ones. Did I miss anyone's question? No? All right, fantastic. So just so we get a roll call as I'm wrapping up now for Ross. Ross is capturing the attendance for me. So who's on the phone again?
Sandra Miller.
Sandra, next. Paul, you and 3 people, you said?
2.
Paul and 2 people? So that's 3 altogether.
Yeah, okay.
Next?
3.5.
3. Okay. All right. All right. So we got what 7 people I think on the phone, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry. Okay. So 8. Okay. All right. So Ross, you got the attendance? All right. So Ross, question: some of the people who could not access the webinar today, they could try on the phone, and we sent off the package via email, and the webinar will be uploaded within 2 weeks. So those who missed it can play it again at that particular point.